Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. This is Tyson Isham at Transworld Business Advisors. Of course, my username is with me at TI Marketing. But today we're going to be sharing some very cool things with you. Carolyn is not with me today. She could not make it to this webinar today, but I am going to share some very cool information. Attention, take some notes. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Everybody make sure you turn off your notifications for the next little while. Make sure you turn off Slack, turn off any phone ringing, turn off Messenger, and turn off videos you have playing in the background. We're going to have a good time today. I can't wait for you guys to learn this and get into your own franchising businesses. Also, in the meantime, if you do have access to the comments, go ahead and let us know in the comments where you are from. We do help people who are interested in starting a franchise business worldwide. So it doesn't matter whether you're here in Las Vegas where we are, somewhere else in the United States, or international. You could be in Africa, Europe, Asia, North America, South America, the Middle East, Australia. You guys do have your own continent. It doesn't matter. We can help you. So hope you heed this advice today and are able to take the next steps toward owning your own business or even expanding and growing the franchise empire that you've already begun. In just a second, I will share my screen, guys. I do have a presentation to share with you today, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. So let me go ahead and get this where it needs to be. I'm also going to give you guys a brief introduction to franchising and kind of who we are. So just stay put for that. Be awesome. So let me hit the share button. And it will look like Inception for just a second. So I apologize for that. Okay, here we go. All right, and present. Okay, guys, so this topic today is going to be about how to own your own franchise business without getting help from an investor. It'll be 1 hour, possibly less, just a free training from us here at Transworld Las Vegas. And of course, like I said, Carolyn could not make it today. She will be in on the next webinar and offering some insights, but I will share a couple pointers with you guys that she has expressed to me about her own franchise. So moving on. We've already covered this, but you guys can use the chat, or also you can ask us any confidential questions by messaging us on Facebook. Go ahead and go to our Facebook page and click the Message Us button, and you will be able to receive answers from us there. And also, there will, after this webinar, I can email that to you guys so that you have access. Any notes that you missed this time, you can scribble down later. Now, let's jump in. Us here at Transworld Las Vegas, we are business brokers primarily. We focus on helping people list their businesses to sell them and also help people buy businesses. And we really like to think of ourselves as business matchmakers. We like to get to know each and every one of you individually, get to know your personality, your preferences, your investor profile, what you are looking for, looking to get out of a business, whether that's on the selling side or buying side. And then we also, of course, help franchises, because franchises are businesses just like any other business. And our goal is to help franchise owners, current franchise owners, and future franchise owners achieve a lot of success. So that's our mission today, is helping you figure out how you guys can afford to follow your dream and become a business owner with a franchise. Now, Carolyn, like I said, is not speaking today, but I, Tyson Isham, I am the founder at tysonisham.com, and I'm also the marketing director at Transworld of Las Vegas. Business Advisors of Las Vegas. She has an MBA. She's a broker here in the state of Nevada, and she herself is a franchise. That's right. Tries over starting her own business. Part of which was the network that Transworld provides to ensure that every Transworld owner becomes successful. It's just such a more reliable system to start that way rather than trying to go on your own and be a startup owner. I can attest to this myself, being the founder at TysonIsham.com, and all of the adventures that I've had in business. It is a rough go. So having a franchise model to follow is definitely highly recommended, both by me and by Carolyn. Sorry about that, guys. Now, I do want to take a quick poll. So answer this in the comments if you have the ability. What % of all retail and service establishments are franchise businesses? So if you take all the businesses that are out there, all the retail, all the service establishments, what percentage of those are franchises? It may surprise you, but go ahead and put your answer in the comments. Is it 50%, 23%? 8%. Only 8% of all retail and service establishments are actually franchises. But I have something even more interesting for you to look at. So answer this question. Go ahead in the comments. What % do you think of service and retail dollars go to franchises in the US annually? So out of every consumer dollar spent at one of these retail or service businesses, what percentage of those dollars is going to the franchises? Now remember, only 8% of businesses are actually franchises. Okay, it's actually 42%. Now that is a very disproportionate advantage that franchises obviously have over regular businesses. For only 8% of those businesses to be franchises, yet claim 42% those consumer dollars is absolutely staggering. And it's there's a lot of rumors, obviously, about how expensive franchises are and that you pay a whole ton of money to the franchisor for your royalty fees and everything else. Guys, they're actually a lot lower than you'd think. And we'll get into that later, but I do want to today definitely earn a disproportionately advantageous number of those dollars that are spent in the marketplace. Now, franchising is a strategy designed to gain disproportionate market share, as you've seen, that we've shown already. And when it's done, works incredible focus here today is making sure that you guys are able to get it done right, not jump into this uneducated. So there are many choices of opportunities out there. More than 3,000 active franchise companies in more than 60 industries out there that are available to you. There's 5 basic categories, though. The 5 basic categories, there are more, but the 5 main ones are food, McDonald's, Subway, Jimmy John's, things like that. There is automotive, so Honest One Auto Care, maybe a Jiffy Lube. There is retail. So many retail stores out there are actually franchises as well. There's business services, things like, well, I was thinking of personal services, but business services out there. There's lots of tax and advisors and consultancies and even Transworld business advisors like ourselves, helping to sell businesses or helping people buy businesses. Those are franchises also. Then residential and personal services. You might think of ServPro, or you might think of, say, a Keller Williams real estate agency. There's also personal services like H&R Block, so taxes and maid services. There's just so many different things out there, guys. Franchising is much, much bigger than McDonald's, and there's so many different types of businesses you can get into. And we'll help you guys learn what's out there once we get to know each of you on a more individual level and know kind of what your preference is. But just know that your horizons aren't as limited as you may have previously thought pursuing a franchise. And on top of not having those horizons out there, you guys do have that disproportionate market share, earning 42% of those dollars. So, quick question again. Answer this in the comments. But is it a myth or truth that industry experience is required before you go into a franchise? Do you have to have previously been a Subway employee before you start making sandwiches there? Previously been a business broker before you got into a Transworld franchise? Well, the answer is it's a myth. You actually don't need industry experience to open a franchise. And only 25% of franchise owners out there are in the same industry that they were previously employed in. Now, this is interesting, but many successful franchisees who have been more successful than people that were previously in the industry. And that's because they don't question the model that the franchisor is giving them. They get the business plan to a T, and they seek the help of other franchisees that are in the same network under that same franchise umbrella, and they get success. And then they duplicate it. They buy another franchise and another franchise, and they open multiple locations, and then they automate their business and they rock it. You know, they're making millions and they're doing really good. So just know that it's definitely a myth, the thought that you would need previous industry experience before owning a franchise in that industry. Now, here's a few reasons why you should consider franchising. So if you haven't already decided to pursue franchising, you're not just here for the financing options, but you also need to figure out why this would work for you. We'll look at these. Number one, with a franchise, you get a proven systematic approach to starting and staying in business. You know, these franchises out there, they want their franchisees to succeed. They don't sell a franchise just hoping that they'll go out of business. That looks bad on their brand overall. You know, and think of your local town where you live, wherever you're at in the world. Think, oh, maybe I have seen Subway go out of business, or a Blockbuster Video, or just whatever it might be. And what was your perception of the company after you saw that go out of business? Thought, oh, that company must be in trouble. You know, not just the franchisee, but you're thinking of the overall company. And that creates instability in the publicly traded stocks. The stock prices can go down. It looks terrible. Trust me, franchisors, the franchise companies, they are very committed and very focused on helping their franchisees stay in business, because not only do they earn a little bit of money from their franchisees, but it also looks much better to them and keeps their stock price higher, or whatever your franchise's stock, whichever exchange it trades in. Now, there are some out there to be wary of, and that's part of the reason that we're here, guys. We want to make sure that you get into a franchise that is reliable and does want to help you and gives you focused attention. So we are here to help with that, and do ask us any questions that you have, of course, before your future and hard-earned income or credit into a franchise. Now, there's experience. So have this proven business model that's been successful, and people running that have experience, and they're passing that on to you. Third, you have name recognition. So you're driving down the street and you see Johnny's. You've never heard of a Johnny's sub spot, doesn't seem overly appealing. You may or may not try it out. You might even check Yelp before you try it out. but you might even avoid it. Whereas you see a Subway, or if you're not a big Subway fan like myself, you see a Jimmy John's or some other recognizable sandwich shop seen in other places, you're going to be more trusting to stop there and spend your money. So get with a franchise, a lot of people are going to go to H&R Block for their taxes automatically, whereas they might forget that other tax centers exist. So that's very important. Number 4, you have group purchasing power. Now, Carolyn and I talked about this in the webinar last week. But something very important with the group purchasing power is, whereas a business owner, say you need supplies, you're going to pay a higher price because you don't buy in bulk quite as much. Well, we have a sub sandwich franchise that we work closely with. They were able to get very top of the line ingredients and very top of the line purchasing from Cisco. If you know what Cisco Food Delivery Services is, they were able to get the very best products from them, which are not available to just any customer. They were able to get the absolute top level products. And not only that, they were able to get them at the bottom list price. And that was because they were connected with this network, not just of their own franchise, but with other franchise. So they got that negotiating power where no one else would be able to get those prices from Cisco. They were able to get those. And in that alone, and what they save alone in supplies and things, I think covered it was their franchise royalty fee by 1.5 times just in the savings of that group purchasing power. So guys, just know that is a big, big deal that exists. Number 5, provided. If you start your own business, say like I have in the past, you don't necessarily have somebody there to hold your hand unless you're fortunate enough to have a mentor. But that mentor is probably going to have their own career and their own things to do, or you have to bring in a business partner, and that may or may not work out well. Well, in this case, you have a whole network, and especially the corporation above you, that is willing to train you and show you the exact model you need to execute on to get success in that business. And of course, as we've stated before, they're very invested in keeping you in business and making sure you succeed with their business model. Now, with that, you also get ongoing support from the right franchises. You're going to have that network of people where when you fail, marketing isn't bringing in as many leads as you want. And guys, I can attest, as a professional marketer, the number one complaint that small business owners have is not getting enough leads. They just need more leads, more leads, more leads. Whenever that dips, you guys have that support from that network where you can go back to them and say, hey, I'm not getting enough of this. I'm not getting enough sales. I'm not getting enough business. What am I doing wrong? And they can come in and help you. Then there's, of course, that marketing expertise. Many of them already have things in place. Say, for example, you had a McDonald's, all the materials, all of the mailers, maybe even ad templates for Facebook or something of that nature are already going to be provided for you, and you just need to apply those. Then there's, of course, the support of the other franchisees in your network, which we've mentioned. But say let's say I own a Transworld in Las Vegas. That's the closest example, obviously, to my heart. And I'm having issues with selling a business for a client of mine. Say he has a hardware store and he's trying to get it sold, and I'm just not getting enough interest. Well, I can go in my network and I can see that Joe in New Hampshire with his Transworld recently sold a hardware store. So I can call Joe and say, hey, Joe, you guys just sold that. I was curious. I would like to help you with any advice I can give you, but how did you guys get that sold? Because I'm struggling to sell this one. And Joe can tell me from his experience how to do it. That's it's a powerful network there, and where people aren't stepping on each other's toes because you have that geographic separation. It's only you're not really competing with each other. You're actually supporting each other. So in that success, you do have that support. And guys, those are many of the reasons why franchising is so powerful and gets a disproportionate market share. Now, go ahead, put your answer in the comments, but do you think this is myth or truth? Just write myth or truth in the comments. Expensive. Is it a myth or truth that they're expensive? Well, that's kind of up to you. So here's the total investment of a franchise next to the percent of opportunities. So the percentages on the right are represented by the franchise opportunities out there. All of the different businesses, say McDonald's, Subway, Transworld, Jimmy John's, you name it. Mary Maids, I'm not sure if they're a franchise, but there's so many things out there. Now, on the left is the price categories that those fall into. So the percentage of franchises that you guys can get into that are under $50,000, 28.6% of them are under 50K. Now, in the 50 to 100K range, that's 23.9% of them. Is 32.7%. That's obviously the biggest single percentage. 250 to 500 is going to be 9.2%, and over 500,000 is going to be 5.6%. So at that point, it starts to get pretty rare that you have a more expensive franchise. And that would be your McDonald's, for example. That might be $1 million or so, or even a sports franchise. An NFL franchise is going to be very, very expensive. But looking at these numbers, guys, we will talk about what it takes next to invest in these franchises, but just know that these are your price ranges. So depending on what type of financing you're able to get, you'll want to look in these ranges. But just know that there's something out there for you. And I always recommend looking at ROI as well at the end of the day. Nobody wants to buy a $1 million franchise that's only going to make them, $25,000 a year. $1 million franchise that's bringing in a much higher rate of return. And also proportionately, many of your $50,000 franchises are only going to be bringing in, that $20,000 a year or possibly even less. So a lot of it depends, but look at the fine details of the business, see if it fits your goals, and go from there. Now, here's the ballpark numbers of the funding requirements to start up these different types of franchises. We did mention different types before, but here's some general numbers. Now, there's the price of the franchise itself, but then there's also the cost of location and business license and personnel, getting everything in place. So just be aware of that. Take into account all of those. Now, in retail, you're looking $200,000 to $350,000 on average. Fast food could be anywhere from $190,000 to millions, like we mentioned, McDonald's. Cleaning services is going to be anywhere from $90,000 to $175,000. Pet care, $60,000 to $199,000. Senior care, $55,000 to $185,000. Fitness, $145,000. Say a gym, for example, Anytime Fitness or Body Focus Fitness, anything of that nature, and etc. There's others, But that's still a good chunk of change to invest. So we're not saying that franchises are necessarily cheap. It's not going out and buying a hamburger. This is buying a business. But it's the return and putting you closer to your goals that's the real value. Is how we get funding for this. And of course, that's on me today because Carolyn is not with us. So I want to detail out for you guys a couple different ways that we can get funding for this. Let me presentation, and I will actually type in here so you guys can see the different types of funding that are available. Let's change that text to white so it's easy to read. Now, one of them is, of course, calling to your in-laws. I know that a lot of us have considered this option before, and there's probably not a single one of us out there that thinks, hey, my in-laws are going to be a great funding source. We're probably thinking, they will be mad, give me their opinion of me, which I never previously thought could be lower, is going to actually get lower, and it's going to be terrible. Now, guys, that's not your only financing option, but just know that going to family is one of the top things to do. So I'll put that on the table as an option, but I'm going to give you guys some better options now. Of course, out of your own pocket. If you guys have the ability to afford one of these franchises, you've saved up enough money, you received an inheritance, and you're looking to invest it in a way that will really grow your future and your family's net worth, then you could always go out of pocket. This is, of course, about how to own your own franchise without getting help from an investor. But investors are always on the table. That is something that exists. And you have everything from angel investors, there's even VCs out there for franchising. That stands for venture capital, and things of that nature. So we'll just leave it at that. There's also SBA financing, guys. SBA stands for Small Business Administration. And the SBA, depending on your credit profile, can give you a very, very attractive loan at a very low interest rate for what you are getting. Now, the big thing to look out for with an SBA loan is making sure that the interest rate that you're paying added up with all of your other business expenses is still low enough that you are taking home enough money every year. Now, you have to pay your employees first, of course. You have to pay the franchisor. But guys, you don't have to get into a franchise and earn $0 per year for the next 3 years before you take a paycheck. Do that, but it's not required if you set this up correctly. So when you go for an SBA loan, just make sure that you're doing your calculations. Also, if you guys have questions about SBA loans and getting lined up with those, we do have people who can help you actually apply for those loans, get those loans, see where you're at financially, but they can help. Another one is some people take out a mortgage. Now, my girlfriend and I were talking about somebody recently here in Vegas. Now, this didn't happen recently, but a connection of ours actually took out a loan against their home. Actually, they sold their home many years ago to invest in, I believe it was Circus. And at the end of the day, they ended up passing away with a net worth of $700 million. It was a pretty good chunk of change for their net worth at their passing. But that all started by selling their house and moving their family into an apartment for a while until that worked out, and investing, of course, in that business. So I won't necessarily recommend that you guys just go out and sell your home so that you can get into a franchise. I don't know that that is the best course of action for everyone or even for anyone. You guys gauge your own personal experience, but just know that that is an option. Some people take a loan against their home. They take out a second mortgage, or take out the equity from their home by taking out a second mortgage and put that toward a franchise business. Now, the next one that many people do not know about, I want to let you guys know about today, is extracting money from your 401k. You might be in your 40s, your 50s, or even your early 60s, and you just don't feel like it's time to quit the workforce, or you want something easy that you can operate while you're in retirement so you don't get bored. Guys, there are ways that we have to extract money legally from your 401k, put that into your bank account specifically to go into this business venture and help get business. Now, this is very innovative. And if you have a good 401k, and like I hope you guys have 401k money through very high interest and very low fee things like index funds, you could be earning 8 to 9% per year on your 401k. Now, if you open a franchise and say you spent 200,000 on the franchise, but your take-home pay around 50,000 per year, that is a 25% return on that money, 8% or 9% return that your 401k is currently earning you. So this is a huge opportunity to take and double or triple basically the interest rate that you guys are earning. Now, I don't want you guys to take this as financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, business broker, and I don't pretend to be. But these are financing options that are out there, and there are professionals that can give you more specifics on this that I can get you guys connected with. So just email me after the webinar, or let me know if you have any questions, and I will get you connected with the right source to gauge whether that is a viable option for you. But also know upfront that just like any other investment does have risk around it. But I do think that getting into a franchise business is your safest and most sure way of reaching success. And that's why we wanted to share with you guys today these different methods for getting funding without necessarily having to go to investors or crawling to your in-laws. You know, there's SBA, there's mortgage, there's 401k, and there are more out there. But from this list of options, you guys should be able to get enough money to, let's go back to the numbers. Sorry, guys. Way too far. Be able to get enough money together to either get combination funding and loan between these different financing options, and do know that you can combine different options to get enough money together. But to make this investment and start one of these businesses and start reaping the rewards that come along with being a business owner. So guys, the next thing, to put this into action. And the way you put it into action is you can go ahead and send us an email now. You can send it to C Johnson, that's the letter C, Johnson, at tworld.com, T for Transworld, C Johnson at tworld.com. You can also email Tyson at tysonisham.com. That's here. Let me type these here so they're on the screen. Guys, there's a couple email addresses. Let's see if I can change the color so that they're legible. You can use either of those to send us an email. Let us know that you would like help getting into a franchise business, and we will connect you with one of our professional franchise partners that can introduce you to the correct franchise for you, to the correct financing option for you out of the ones that we've taught here today, and we'll get you guys on the right track. And if any of you are thinking about hesitating, not emailing us, or putting this off till later, just think about it this way. In your life this past year, or in your life the past 5 years, you've probably had this thought in your head that you should start a business. But have you? If you're in this webinar, the answer is normally going to be no. Now, having not started that business, but thought about it the last 5 years, what has changed in your life? What has improved in your life over the last 5 years from not taking action and starting your business? I'm guessing not a lot. I'm guessing that it's been fairly average and normal, and things have probably just slowly gotten worse, not necessarily better in your life. Guys, we want you to have this opportunity. Realize now that I've taught you these, that you can now take advantage of these, go start your business, go start a new adventure, and get to a place where you increase your net worth to be able to live the lifestyle that you want to live, to have the financial security that you want to have the job security that you want to have, and never ever get fired again. Be in control. Control your own schedule, control your own destiny. Guys, you can do it now. Just go ahead and send us an email. And again, we're not selling anything. We don't have anything to sell you guys here. But I do have people that if you're interested, you can talk to, and they will give you franchise consulting for free and point you in the right direction. And guys, that's the best I can do for you today. Now, unfortunately, I don't think our comments are connected, and without a co-presenter, I can't really check the Q&A during the webinar. I'll try to answer any questions later on, so feel free to leave those in the comments, or also shoot us a message on Facebook or email, and I will answer you best I can. And thank you for attending today. Guys, if you need anything else, we are always available, and I wish you the best of luck. Look out for the replay email soon coming out for this webinar presentation today. And if there's anything that I didn't cover that you'd like us to cover in future webinars, let me know and I'll do it. But guys, go ahead, jump to these emails and shoot us a message now.